Jon Rahm has had a phenomenal part to the end part of this season, but I tell you what, so has Dustin Johnson, and the two of them, it is so hard to split between them right now as to who is the favourite coming into this week at the Tour Championship. So Paige, coming to you first, in terms of their mental game, who has the mental advantage this week in your opinion?
I want to first say that both of them, as Jon Rahm pointed out, couldn't do what the other does. And I think that was very important. Both of them know themselves well enough to know that their demeanors on the golf course are true to who they are as players. And that's kind of the mark of what I would consider great mental, management on the golf course. But I've got to give the edge to DJ on this one. Jon Rahm talked about how important the playoffs was. Everybody knows that, positioning going into the playoffs is important, but ultimately the points are so heavily weighted towards the end of the year that's what's really important. If that's what's really important, I give the edge to DJ. When you look at just from scoring perspective over those two tournaments, DJ has a 34 under par over the last two events compared to the next best, which is Jon Rahm at 20. And then even below that, DJ has a 21 stroke advantage over the third position, which is Jason Kokrak. So when you look at that, knowing what DJ has done, I'm sure DJ looks around and he doesn't think, or he probably has an enormous amount of confidence based on the fact that he has kind of wiped the floor over the last two events.
He has, Paige, but I want to disagree with you. I think I'm going to go with Jon Rahm because 10 times Dustin Johnson has competed in the Tour Championship, and he's walked away with the trophy 0 times. 10 starts, no wins. This is someone with 22 career wins on the PGA Tour, 6 WGCs, 5 other playoff wins, a major championship, but he has not gotten it done at East Lake. Jon Rahm has 3 starts at East Lake, all in the top 12. 10 starts, double digits. I'm not saying this is his kryptonite necessarily. I'm not ready to say this is the Riviera thing to Tiger, but we have seen DJ win all over the world, blowout wins, narrow wins, but he has not gotten it done at East Lake. Because of that, in a smaller sample, I give a slight advantage to Jon Rahm.
You know what Michael Jordan said when he missed a few free throws? He said, statistically, I'm due to get hot. So if DJ is 0 for 10 at this golf course, statistically, he is due to start doing great things. I think DJ doesn't just have the edge. I think easily he's got the edge mentally. 1, he's got a 2-shot lead. 2, and this I think is the most important point, DJ's playing great golf. He's got a second, first, second his last 3 events. Jon Rahm got hot for 2 rounds, very hot for 2 rounds. That's a big difference in just your mentality going into a golf tournament. Knowing I'm playing great rather than I caught fire, I had a good swing key, I hope it holds out. And also, I don't think that DJ feels like Rahm beat him last week. I think he believes a fluke beat him. He stood up and did what he had to do on the last hole with Rahm in the clubhouse or on the range to tie him, whereas he looks at Rahm and goes, okay, we got in the playoff, he hit a bad tee shot, he did what he could with the second and got lucky and just made a fluke putt. So he doesn't leave there feeling like he got beat. I just think that DJ's a sports psychologist's dream of letting things roll off his back, and I'm pretty much always going to give the mental edge to DJ.
Fluke putt? Yes, okay, it wasn't a guaranteed putt, and the chances of missing it and 3-putting it were higher than making it, but this is Jon Rahm, and not every player is cut from the kind of cloth that can make those kind of putts. And you know what? You heard Jon Rahm say there in the sound about how impressed he was about Dustin Johnson, the way that he finished off that BMW Championship, making the up and down on 17, making the putt on 18, but it wasn't good enough. Jon Rahm outplayed him with DJ delivering the best that he had. And I think what Jon Rahm was able to learn about himself from last week at the BMW Championship with that opening round 75, overcoming that penalty shot on Saturday, he is learning that he is maturing into becoming, if not the best player in the world, Paige. And DJ, it wasn't enough last week.
It wasn't. And that's a small sample, but again, DJ has had that consistent form. And it actually reminds me of a very similar period of time back in 2017 when DJ had that consistent form over the period of 3 events. The 3 events that he won in a row leading into the Masters. And as good as Jon Rahm is playing, he doesn't have this empty hunger that I think DJ has. The fact that he wasn't able to go to Augusta and try to complete what was an incredible spring, I look at this little stretch thinking the same thing. There's a possibility to reach the pinnacle of one of the biggest holes in his resume, and that's the FedExCup. And so I look at it as almost a chance of redemption from that really, really hot streak back in 2017. And I think that gives him an edge over Jon Rahm in this case.
We're going to find out pretty darn quickly then. I mean, we're hearing Robert say easily the advantage. And we're talking about Page comparing him to 2017. If this is all true, if this is the DJ of 2017, this golf tournament's over. It may be over on Saturday or Sunday. Let alone Monday. DJ has a 2-shot lead. He's also known historically not always played great with the lead. And does that kind of weigh into the mindset, as Dustin Thomas said he was dealing with a year ago?
Didn't play great with the lead. Were you were you sleeping 2 weeks ago?
2 weeks ago? How about 10 years ago? How about 5 years ago? How about 2 years ago?
Different guy.
Yeah.
And I think that's another great point that actually confirms, Robert and my argument is that this is a player that can have the lead and stretch it out and reach further down and continue to make birdies when everybody's trying to chase. And I actually think you made a great point for my argument, Damon.
You don't win 22 times, Damon, by blowing the lead every single time. It just, because he's so good and he has won 22 times, it highlights the times that we've seen him not play well on the weekend. And I want to go back at Anna for a moment. I didn't say the putt was a fluke. I said DJ could view it as a fluke. That's a big, big difference. I'm not disparaging Jon Rahm.
Was DJ's putt as much as a fluke as Jon Rahm's putt?
He had to make it. Rahm did not have to make his. DJ had to make his. I'm going into DJ's mind. I'm not talking facts and reality. I'm saying how he can absorb this in his mind going into this week.
When did Dustin Johnson turn into Tiger Woods all of a sudden of closing? I must have missed that page. And Robert, I mean, he has enough scar tissue to last 5 different careers, let alone his own.
I'm with you. And to pick up on Paige's point about just how much Dustin Johnson wants this week, Dustin Johnson has got 11 years on Jon Rahm. Not that his time is running out, but he's not as fresh, and perhaps he wants it too much, and we don't know how he's going to react to that 2-shot advantage. We saw what it did to Justin Thomas last year, and it did not work in his favor. So this is quite the debate. We would love to hear your thoughts. Who's got the edge this week, DJ or Rahm?